Good morning, Marcia.
Good morning.
My name is Mrs. Mulberry, and our intake and assessment clerk sent me your information and told me that you have quite a few concerns that some things are going on in your life due to the recent loss of your husband. And I just would like to hear what's going on with you right now.
There's so much going on right now. It's hard for me to talk about it.
It's all right. It's okay. You are in a safe place, and we will take as much time as you need. Would you like a tissue?
Yeah. When my friends, they told me I need to come in because I've changed so much. I was like a really happy person. But I lost my husband, Richard, my best friend for life. And before he died, we would go on walks every day and just talk. We would date every Thursday. We have date night, and we just were the best of friends. And then I lost him, and now I don't know how to get over this depression that I'm feeling. This depression won't leave me. I just feel this sense of hopelessness. I don't have any hope for my future because I don't have my best friend anymore. He
That must
left
be
me.
hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. I don't know what to do.
It's all right. It is all right. And that must be hard. That must be difficult to lose someone that you love, especially your husband. And as you said, your best friend. You've been together for a long time. You know, Marcia, I have a question for you. What made you vulnerable to depression?
I think because I didn't expect him to die before me. I thought he would always be there. And I just got into the habit of having him every day. I never thought about what life would be like without him, because he would choke me and say, you know you're going to die before me because you won't get in the gym. I wouldn't get in the gym. I didn't work out. He was always in the gym because his father and his granddad both died from cancer, and he made sure that he ate right, he exercised, and he would try to get me involved, and I just wouldn't. And he would choke me and say, you know, you're going to die before me if you don't start exercising more, and I never would. But just about a year ago, I started. You know, we talked about going skydiving together and doing some other activities together, and I just was feeling better, and I just never imagined life without him. And because I got into that pattern of having him around and waking up, and he was my child, I was his child. You know, we couldn't have any children. When I found out I couldn't, I was devastated, but we got through that together. So we were mother and father to each other because we married young. We met in college, and Richard, he's just a unique man because at a time, you know, when my women in my generation, we just would get married after high school and start our families, but I didn't want to do that. So a lot of men, when they found out I didn't want to be a wife right away and have a family right away, I guess it would scare them off, but not Richard. We met at a soup kitchen, and the rest was history. Yeah, not Richard. He understood. He let me go to college, have my career. He was just there for me. I mean, just unique. And when we found out we couldn't have kids, he was so supportive. He didn't make me feel bad about being a woman. I mean, my very essence was wrapped up in Richard, and I think that's why I'm having such a hard time, because I don't know how to be without him. My being, I don't know who I am without him. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I can imagine this Richard. He sounds like a wonderful man. It sounds like you found your soulmate. And I can only imagine. I can only imagine. So I have another question for you, Marcia. What made you, from what I read on the intake sheet, that you are starting to struggle with feelings of depression and feelings of just worthlessness. And so my question to you is, uh, when have when have you noticed these two feelings of depression and worthlessness, and when have you allowed them to dominate your life?
Well, if I'm understanding the word depression, because when I lost him, it's so like I was numb,
Mm. Mm.
and I didn't know how to feel. Just trying to get through day by day. So I guess the depression just came, and I didn't even realize it because I was numb, and friends would come by and they would try to get me to go on our routine walks that we did all the time. And at first they were supportive because they understood. They were giving me that time, but then I started hiding from them. When they would ring the doorbell, I would act like I wasn't there because they can't tell because my car is in the garage. So they didn't know if I was home or not. And normally I gave Patricia a key, in case something happened. But I got that back. So I think the depression came subtly at first, but then as I began to close off people from trying to help me, that's when the depression must have come in, and I didn't realize it was depression because I was already feeling numb and sad, and then I guess it turned into depression when I didn't want to get up, I didn't want to talk to anyone, I didn't want to be bothered, things that used to ignite me. I'm a gregarious person by nature, but after that, I just didn't even want to be around people. I didn't want to answer the phone. I don't want to get to the door. I may take my shower at 3 o'clock in the afternoon as opposed to when I first get back from walking, or if I showered at all.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm glad you're here. I have another question for you, Marcia. In what context are depression and worthlessness most likely to take over?
Can you explain that to me? I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Can you tell me what are there various times of the day, or have there been times to where you've been doing something and as soon as you've done that particular thing, you just begin to feel depressed? Maybe you wanted to go walk outside and you just felt depressed, or maybe you start cooking dinner and you may have felt depressed. Maybe you've seen a couple. What precipitates your depression?
Well, I never thought about it like that, but now that you're asking me, Richard and I, before we go to bed every night, we have this little joke going on between us, and right before we go to bed, we tell each other good night, I love you, we may hold hands as we lay together. But when I get into bed, I feel that hopelessness because I don't have my friend to give me that joke, to make me laugh, to kind of put me at ease before I go to rest, that last thing before we go to sleep. So that's hard to where I don't even want to get into bed and go to sleep anymore because he's not there.
Yes. That has to be very hard for you, Marcia.
That is.
I have another question for you. What type of things typically happen that lead to the depression and worthlessness taking over?
Well, I think the kind of things that happened was that led to the depression and worthlessness. Like once I closed all of my friends out,
Yes.
that put me in a state of mind to where I don't need anybody. If I don't have Richard, then nothing else matters. And I don't even matter because my essence of being was wrapped in him. So I feel like, why am I living? What do I have to live for?
You have so much to live for.
Yeah, I don't feel like it right now.
I'm so glad you're here so we can work on those feelings of worthlessness and depression because you have so much to live for. You are a beautiful woman, and I sense such a beautiful, beautiful spirit in you. So you have a lot to live for. What does depression and loneliness tell you? What are the words that depression and loneliness have told you?
Well, depression tells me stay back, stay down, don't even try. Loneliness tells me I'll never find another Richard, and I won't. I don't even want to look or think about it. It tells me I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. I'm going to live out the rest of my life old and lone and lonely and hopeless and just nothing.
You're never alone, Marsha. You're never alone.
I feel so alone.
We're going to deal with that as well. And the mere fact that you have mentioned that you have support, I've noticed that you said your friends have called you.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends have come to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you are loved. People are concerned about you.
Never thought about it, but yeah.
Yes, they are concerned about you, to come to your house and to call you, to check on you. So you are loved, and you are never alone. Never, never alone. Can you describe a time in your life when depression and worthlessness were not a problem?
During my college years when I met Richard, I guess he is my soulmate because when I met him, I instantly connected. And he had such a way of making me feel good about myself. I mean, men can say you're pretty, you're gorgeous, but you always think they have alternative, or how do you say it?
Ulterior motives.
An ulterior motive.
Mm-hmm.
But with Richard, he was just so honest about that. You know, he'd always tell me, "You are beautiful. You have a beautiful smile. You're just beautiful." And I like being around. You know, he just had such a way of making me feel loved and just accepted me for where I was. He didn't try to say, do your hair this way. I mean, he had an opinion. If I came out not looking to his standard, he was like, no, go back and fix yourself up. And I guess my sense of worthlessness was in him because for the first time in my life, he made me feel like I had something to offer. He really made me feel pretty. I never really thought about it until I got with him. I never saw myself as pretty until I got with him. And he would just tell me all the time how beautiful I was and how much he loved me. And he was there. So I think that was the time when I didn't ever feel lonely or worthless. And it just built from there. So when I lost him, it just took me back to the time before I met him. And that's a lot of what I'm going through. It's like I lost the essence of who I am when I lost him.
You two sound very, very, very close. And Richard sounds like a wonderful guy.
I mean, he is.
A wonderful guy.
People think I over-exaggerate, but it is. I mean, he's not perfect. He had a way of getting on my nerves, like I did his, but I had a winner.
You know, Miss Marsha, I'd like to dwell a little deeper. I noticed that you said when you met Richard that you no longer had these feelings of worthlessness.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that before you met Richard that you actually struggled with these feelings of feeling worthless as a human being?
I did. I never really thought about it until now. I struggled with it because when I was a child, I lost my dad at an early age. My parents went through a lot, and I was number 6 out of 6. So as the baby child, I didn't really understand a lot of what was going on, but I knew that we had to move here and go here, and you know, everyone else seemed okay, but I was the one that just was watching everything and not understanding. Sit down, Dee Dee, be quiet, Mimi, Mama, you know, all of these nicknames they would give me. And I just didn't feel valued all the time. I knew my mom loved me. I knew my dad loved me, but I didn't feel valued all the time because everyone seemed to be busy doing things around me, not including me, but telling me what to do and making decisions for me or telling me to go here or do this or get out the room because I was too young to hear. I always felt like the outsider in the midst of everyone.
That is very, very interesting. So I have a question for you, if I'm hearing you correctly. So even as a child, you didn't feel valued.
Yeah.
You didn't feel valued. If I'm, please correct me because you can always correct me because this is your life and your story, and I'm here to support you, and I'm here to cheer you on. I'm not here to change you. I'm not here to fix you. I have another question for you. So, once you grew up, you still had those feelings of worthlessness, if I'm hearing you correctly.
You are.
And Richard, it seemed as if you're saying he filled the void. It made you feel, by making you feel special.
He did. And I filled the void for him because Richard, like I said, was very athletic, good looking. So people always gave him a lot of attention for the outward. But I didn't see that. I saw the inward. And it was like when I got around him, I was always saying the opposite. I wasn't enamored. I didn't talk about his looks, his muscles, or his athleticism. I talked about him as a person.
I see. I see. I'm getting a good picture. How does this problem with depression and worthlessness, how does this affect you?
Well, on a daily basis, I don't want to engage in daily activities anymore. I'm okay just to lay in bed all day and let the day go. I don't have an interest in activity anymore. It's like I could watch a whole series of something and the day is gone before I know it. It's 8 o'clock and I've been in the bed all day. I hadn't answered my phone.
Yes.
I hadn't opened my mail. It's like instead of living life, life is living me now. It's passing me by.
How has this problem affected your attitude?
Well, I just have a nonchalant attitude. It's like the more I don't care or get involved with other people, the more I think it's okay not to care.
So are you saying that the more you withdraw from people or activities, are you saying that it becomes easier and easier to withdraw and to give in to this bully, this depression?
Yeah, it's like second nature now. It's okay.
Do you feel that you're being bullied by this depression, or do you just see it as a constant companion, as a friend?
I never thought about it as a bully. I just see it as my companion now.
You see it as your companion. All right. How has depression and worthlessness, how has it affected your idea of how you see yourself?
I don't consider myself. I don't think about what's going to make me feel good today. What dress will I look pretty in? How should I do my hair? How should I match these shoes? Because it's like, I'm so used to Richard being there, complimenting and, telling me how nice I looked. Or don't wear that out, could be the opposite. But just him having a constant input into my being, For me, it's like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, it's just totally different now. Nothing's the same. Nothing is as it was. And I just feel like it can never, ever be there again.
Yes. Thank you for your honesty. How has this problem affected your attitude? your relationship, forgive me, your relationship?
Well, the way, I guess my attitude is I don't care, so that affects my relationship because I think even though people care about me, their lives go on. You know what I'm saying? It's like they can only knock but so long, call but so long, try to bring a casserole but so long, and then it's like they get busy with their lives and they, you know, tend to leave me more alone, not wanting to, but just happens, and I just be okay with it. So I don't know what if if I'm not willing to let them in, eventually they'll go away, and I'm okay with that right now too.
Has that ever happened to you in your past?
What?
Where people have just left you alone
Mhm.
and been too busy?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
That's number 6.
Number 6.
That's number 6. Everybody was older. Everybody was busy. And I have 2 sisters, but they're like 6 and 7 years older. So when I was 6, they were 12 and 13. They were liking boys, and I didn't know about that yet. So I had to leave a lot of times. They had like a pig Latin language they would do, and I never could learn it. I never knew what they were saying around me. Sometimes they just make me leave altogether, you know.
And so you think people are going to get tired of you as well and leave?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do you think your friends will do the same thing?
I think eventually, you know, like my sisters, they love me, but they have their own lives. They're in a different place. I'm in this place. They're in that place. They're still living life. I don't care anymore.
That's very interesting. Can you ever think of a time in your past to where this problem of depression and worthlessness tried to take over and you didn't let it?
Well, I don't know. I may have been sad sometimes by, always being the youngest and having to be told what to do, when to do it, but it didn't really take over my life because I was, I think, happy by nature. You know, I was okay. I was maybe strong by nature. I talked a lot. I'm busy, so maybe a lot of things that could have taken me under, it just didn't. I don't know. Never thought about it until now.
How did you do that?
I would just engage in something that interested me.
You would engage in something that interested you?
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Reading.
Reading.
I love to read, so reading was my escape. I would open books and read for hours, and I would be the characters. I could look at other people's lives and not think about mine. So books were my love, my life.
Isn't that, isn't that very interesting that you said that you enjoy reading books? Because you've chosen narrative therapy, and as far in narrative therapy, you get a chance to rewrite your own story. You get a chance to rewrite your own story. This is not the end.
I like that.
You are not the depression. You are not the worthlessness. You are not the problem that you are struggling against. You can change your own story. And that's what we're going to work on. You changing your own story.
I like that.
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
You are the author of your own story.
Thank you. I like that.
Yes.
I'm going to write that down.
Yes, you may.
Please pardon the interruption. Dean Bacon, can you please call the front office? Dean Bacon, please call
I'm
the
going to
front
take this
office.
with me.
Very good. And so I have another question for you. So, what does it say about you as a person that you were able to defeat depression and worthlessness on certain occasions? What does that say about you as a person?
I am strong. I'm a strong woman.
Say it again.
I'm a strong woman.
You are a strong woman. That's right. You're rewriting your own story and you don't even know Here you are rewriting your own story. Just a few minutes ago, you said depression and loneliness told you would be alone forever. But yet here you are. You are a strong woman. You're rewriting your story as we speak.
I like that.
Yes, yes. So, Miss Marsha, I have another question for you. What else can you tell me about your past that will help me understand how you were able to handle depression and worthlessness so well?
Well, in spite of my parents separating, my dad dying, feeling less than the others, I was number 6, so I had to weigh it out. I still would have a goal to go to college, and I did, and that's where I met my husband. So, turned out all right, in spite of the past, that decision to go to college was pivotal. It made a big difference in my life.
How did it make a big difference in your life?
I met Richard.
You met Richard. He really sounds like a wonderful guy. You met Richard. You just beamed. I met Richard. Yes, you met Richard. And you're smiling. You're smiling. For your last and final question, Miss Marsha, now that you've discovered these things about yourself, that you are a strong
Woman.
You are a strong woman. You've been reminded. It's always been in you. It's already been in you. Now that you've discovered these things about yourself, how do you think these discoveries will affect your relationship with depression and worthlessness?
I guess as we work through the sessions, we can rebuild my life. I can come back. I can want to live again.
Yes.
And I can restore the relationships that I do still have.
Yes.
Everybody didn't die with Richard. I'm still living.
Yes. If you chose to restore just one relationship, what would you do? Just one thing off the top, what would you do?
Get back to my walking with my
Get back to
friends.
That would be a great idea. Great thing.
Because it's good for me, mentally, physically, spiritually, on many levels. It's good for me.
And it's so good to have a support system.
Mm-hmm.
We all need help.
Mm-hmm.
We all need a support system. We all do. Marsha, I would love to see you once a week. You can pick which day is better for you, but I really would like to start off by seeing you once a week. And we can write down some plans and some goals. But I really wanted to hear what you had to say first. I wanted to hear what was going on with you, what was on your heart, your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think I have a pretty good idea. I believe I have a pretty good idea. And I believe we've made just a tiny bit of progress today.
I agree.
Just to know that you're reminded, just to see you smile. Because when you walked in, you were not smiling. And here you are smiling every now and then. You know, for your homework assignment, what I would love for you to do, we're going to take baby steps. Sometimes we have to take baby steps. But, you know, sometimes you have to crawl before you can walk and walk before you can run. As long as you're doing something, as long as we're moving toward a goal. I would like for you to target one friend, to write down their name right now as we're speaking. Just write down one name. And for your homework assignment, I want you to call that friend when you get home. And I want you to set up a date. It can be just one day where you and that friend are going to go to lunch. You're going to go to lunch, and you're going to catch up.
Wow.
You're going to catch up, and you're not going to put on a mask, and you're going to be transparent.
That's a lot.
Now, if there's something that makes you uncomfortable, you can stop. And you can let her know, him or her know, now, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about this right now. But I want you to talk about something. Something that makes you happy. It has to make you happy.
I like that.
So if it makes you feel depressed, you're not going to talk about it. If it makes you feel worthless, you're not going to talk about it. But you're going to talk about something that empowers you and that actually complements your story as a strong woman, because you are a strong woman. And so you're going to gravitate toward people who actually compliment you and who agree with the fact that you are a strong woman.